Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this recorded after the fact. So if you're watching it after the fact, welcome anyway. I'm going to get straight into it and share a little bit about FSU Coach and what we do, and then our academic programs. And then if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to put them in the chat box or ask them directly. That's fine as well. Okay. There we go. I'm just moving everything over so that I can actually see my screen as well. Okay. Well, welcome. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Tim Baghurst. I'm the director of FSU Coach. I also oversee all of the programming in FSU Coach as well. As you can see, I've published a lot, well over 100 peer-reviewed articles now, 5 textbooks. I have another textbook coming out in the spring, which I'm excited about. And I've been an athlete my whole life. I've competed in a variety of different sports. Most recently, the last 10 years or so, have been competing in racquetball. Just competed last week, actually, in Las Vegas in paddleball world championships, which was fun, etc. My main area of interest is in supporting niche sports, the sports that maybe don't get as much attention, that don't get as much visibility. Racquetball is a good example, but right now I work with the Florida State University's beach volleyball team as a performance coach. That's an example of one of those niche sports. That's my interest. I do commentary for the Ladies Professional Racquetball Tour. I serve on their executive board, executive staff, so I do a lot of work with them. And if you're interested in following me on social media, you can find me at Baghurst or on LinkedIn as well. Dr. Megan Bunning is one of our faculty. She is a teaching specialist. She's the primary teacher of the master's program and certificate. She is a certified mental sports performance consultant. In short terms, she is a sports psychologist, although in the US, we're not allowed to use that term. So, well, that's what she does on the side. She's a former collegiate softball player. She coached in the SEC, and she is also now an analyst for a variety of different TV programs associated with softball competition. She specializes in working with officials in sports performance. So she often goes to officiating camps and things and works with officials. You can find her at Dr. Bunning. So a little bit about what is FSU Coach. We started this 2 years ago. It is the Center, Interdisciplinary Center for Athletic Coaching. We have 4 areas of emphasis. We have academic programming, which I'll talk about a little bit. We do research in coaching and sports performance. We actually work with organizations, an example here on your right, where we help organizations with coach education or development. And we also provide organizational support also. So any organization that is interested in getting some help, as an example, each and every month, we do a breakdown of a research study for the American Volleyball Coaches Association, and they send that out to their coaches to understand what this article is about and how they can use it in their sport. If you know some of the faces at FSU, at Florida State University, Mike Martin was, or still is, a very famous one in the Hall of Fame. Had some nice words to say about FSU Coach. And the reason I put this up is to show you that this is not a program that we just threw together. This is a program that is widely recognized and highly respected in the sports community. All right, let's talk a little bit about the programming. We have 2 major programs in FSU Coach. We have a graduate certificate in athletic coaching, then we have a master's in athletic coaching. The graduate certificate is 4 total classes, and these are the 4 classes you take: theory and practice, philosophy and ethics, the internship, and coaching for human performance. You can start in any semester. So you can start in the spring semester in January if you want. And the great thing about this is if you're maybe not sure about doing a master's, you don't know if you want to go that far, you can take these 4 classes in the certificate. And then if you want to, transfer those into the master's degree if you decide to move into the master's. The athletic internship requires you to take either theory and practice or philosophy and ethics before you take the internship class. The internship class does not require you to come to Tallahassee and do some internship here. You can do this internship where you are. Dr. Bunning works with a supervisor in the sport or organization that you're working with to provide you with additional experience. So most people in our program, not everybody, but most people are already coaching in some format, whether it be volunteer or paid. And you can continue to do that, but we now work with Dr. Bunning to assist you in getting better in what you're doing in the sport that you're coaching. This is pretty straightforward. In order to get your certificate, you have to do 2 things to get in the program. First, you apply to Florida State University as a non-degree seeking student. Then you complete the certificate application. So 2 parts: get accepted into FSU as a non-degree seeking student, and then apply to FSU COACH to do the certificate. I don't see the non-degree seeking student application. I see the certificate application. So once you're approved by FSU to be a student, then you apply to the certificate. That comes to me, and I review it and then make a determination whether you're accepted or not. Once you're accepted into the program, you complete all 4 courses and you have to get a grade B or better in order to get the certificate. In the last class that you're taking, you apply to complete the certificate. And what that means is I go in and look at your grades to make sure that you have a B or better once you've completed all 4 classes. And once you're done, you receive your certificate from Florida State University. The master's in athletic coaching is 10 total classes. It's 30 credit hours. Enrollment is, I'm moving my picture here. Enrollment is open to start in the spring, in January, in the summer, in May, or in the fall, in August. This master's was built from scratch. It is not a compilation of classes that already existed at FSU. We literally built all of these classes to make sure that this focus was on coaching. And I'm going to show you what classes they are in a minute, but note that these classes all have coach or coaching in them because it's important for us that we are helping you in a coaching field. So this was really built by coaches for coaches. Dr. Bunning and myself we currently coach. And we also reached out to our advisory board who are coaches or work with coaches to determine what classes needed to be taught in order for this to be a very effective master's degree. So here are the 10 classes that you would take. You'll notice that these first 2, theory and practice of philosophy and ethics, look very similar. They're part of the certificate. You will also take sociology of sport, motor learning for coaches, sport and exercise psychology for coaches, coaching for human performance. That one's part of the certificate. And then understanding and conducting research. This one is important. We're not asking you to do a thesis. We're not asking you to do some kind of major project. What we want you to do is understand how to use research articles and apply them into your coaching situation. So it's a little different to what you would normally see in a master's degree. We're more interested in, do you understand the research? And do you understand how research is conducted to evaluate whether this research study would be useful for you as a coach? The internship is one I've already talked about. And then the last 2, they don't have titles yet or numbers yet because we actually just built them. And so we're waiting for the official numbers to come through. But we look at international perspectives of coaching, understanding that coaches are across the world. There are many different types of coaches. There are many different environments in which coaches work globally. So we need to understand that. How can we learn from coaches around the world rather than just where we are in our situation. And then the last one is called Coaching 360. This one looks at how do we help athletes outside of the sports arena? How do we help them with struggles and challenges that they face, whether it be handling work and play at the same time, handling the business side, handling the emotional issues that go into sports performance and that go on outside of the sports arena. So it's more of a compilation of almost counseling. I won't say the word counseling, but it's similar to that in terms of how we help athletes. In terms of applying for the master's, again, pretty straightforward. You go to this link here and you need 4 things. You need official transcripts. You can start with unofficial ones, but eventually we'll need the official ones. We want an outline of why you're applying to the program. If you have a background in criminology, why are you applying for a master's in coaching? Do you work with athletes? Do you want to change careers? These are just questions that we want to understand. Why do you want to be in our program? We want to see your resume and CV. We would expect to see some kind of sports background or interest in sports. And then we'd like a writing sample. The writing sample does not have to be sports related. It could be an assignment you've written before, a paper for your undergrad degree. It could be a blog article that you've written. What we're looking for is this student a competent writer? Will they be successful at the graduate level? Same thing with why you're applying to the program. If we notice that it's poorly written or there are typos, grammar errors, etc., that is a warning flag that you may struggle at the graduate level. 2 things you don't need. You don't need the GRE. That's been waived. You do not need letters of recommendation either. If you're an international student, you do need a TESOL score. I can explain that in more detail if you have questions on that. But again, we have to know that you're going to be successful writing and speaking in English. Okay, let's go through some common questions. Typical questions are, how much does it cost? Well, it depends whether you're in state or out of state. You can go to this website to get specific information, but if you're in Florida, the rate is $444.26 per credit hour. If you're out of state, it's $1,075.66. Can you get in-state tuition if you live out of state? Typically, the answer is no, but there is a program called the Academic Common Market Program, which, again, if you go to this link, it will give you details of this, or you can Google it as well. It will show you that there are several states in the US where they support in-state tuition in certain circumstances. So if you have questions on that, you can contact me or contact the Academic Common Market Program. We do have students that have used this successfully to get in-state tuition when they don't live in Florida. Do we offer all 4 certificate classes each semester? Typically, no, you can't. Well, you can't anyway, because you have to have a prerequisite for internship. So you should expect to get the certificate over 2 semesters or more. We do offer a variety of classes each semester. That is dependent on what semester it is and what our course load is for that year. But you should be able to get through in 2 semesters. Summer offerings differ, and it just depends on the schedule. In order to apply, I kind of already discussed that. Deadline to apply on the certificate, you can apply at any time. There's no deadline for that. But if you want to start in January, we need your application in at least a few weeks in advance, because we have to process that application. FSU has to process that application as well before you can enroll in classes. Understand it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks for that to happen. And we also want to make sure that you can enroll in classes before they're full. So the sooner you apply, the better. Master's questions, can you transfer hours into the master's? Yes, you can. You need a grade B or better, and you're allowed to transfer up to 6 hours. You cannot transfer classes from one master's degree to another. If you didn't finish the master's, you can transfer those hours. But if you have a master's in sport management, and now you want to transfer 6 of those hours into our degree, that wouldn't be approved. The deadline to apply for the spring semester is November 1st. That's a Florida State University policy. It has to be done by November 1st. So you have a few days left in order to actually get that application in. Summer is March 1st, and if you're looking to the fall, July 1st is your deadline. So if you're looking to start in January, you need to get on with applying. The good news is if you get your at least unofficial transcripts in, you just have your resume, you just have your writing sample, and you just have a statement of why you want to be in our program. That's all you need in order to apply. Some more questions. What about 3.0 GPA? Clarification, this is for upper division coursework. So we look at the last 60 credit hours of your degree, not your whole degree. Typically, students struggle in a first, second year of their degree. So we're looking at more the third and fourth year or fifth year of their degree to see what your GPA is. You can still be admitted if you don't have a 3.0 GPA. Let's say theoretically you have a 2.5 GPA. Apply. We will go through your application and look for why did this person have a 2.5 GPA? Do they still have the potential to be successful? And I'll give you an example. We've had several students who didn't do well in their undergraduate degree, but they took their degree several years ago. They've since gone into full-time employment and can write in their letter why their GPA was 2.5 and what they've learned since. Well, we understand that as students, maybe we didn't put in 100% or we didn't learn as much as we should have. We may give you provisional admittance. And what that means is you have conditions to meet in your first semester. If you meet those conditions, usually it's based on taking a certain number of classes and achieving a certain grade, then your provisional status goes away and you are good to go. Understand though, international applicants cannot be admitted unless you have a 3.0 GPA. And again, we can calculate that as well. How do you apply? There's the link in order to apply. Again, make sure that you get your transcripts in quickly. That's one of the things that can take time from universities. Put your unofficial transcripts in and then go to official transcripts. We can wait on those as long as your unofficial ones are in. Do you take it part-time or full-time? And I should mention as well, maybe I haven't already, all of these classes are 100% online. Most of them are due in your own time. We do have some of the classes where maybe once a month, we ask students to meet on Zoom so that we can have a group discussion, etc. But the vast majority of the work you do in your own time. Full-time is up to you. What full-time is, we assume is 6 credit hours a semester. I have some students taking more than 6 hours a semester. I have more students taking just one class, 3 hours a semester, because they're working full-time, coaching on the side, etc. Life is busy, so they're just pacing themselves slowly. Absolutely fine. What you want to take is up to you, and we sit down and work out with you what would be a good number for you. My recommendation is start with 3 credit hours, especially if you're working full-time and coaching or coaching full-time. Start with 3 credit hours, get through one class, and then determine, okay, I can handle more, as opposed to starting with too many classes and finding that it's too much. And we had somebody actually do that this semester who enrolled in too many classes and then had to drop out because it was just too much for them to handle. We do have some scholarships, and we're actually working on new scholarships. These are competitive. They're open to anybody. This is an opportunity for you to get a little bit of support. Again, they're not massive. They're not going to pay for the whole thing, but they do help to provide some money for tuition or books or anything else that you need. College of Education and FSU also have scholarships that you can apply for that may be carry more value, that may have more money attached to them. Here's an example. I want to explain that some of the people in our program are taking our program even though they don't need to. An example is Coach Niles. She's the head coach of beach volleyball at FSU. She's been here for 5 years, highly successful. I believe they've won the conference championship 5 times in a row. And yet here she is taking our master's in athletic coaching because she understands that she can get better and wants to get better. So we have a variety of students in our program. We have volunteer coaches. We have high school coaches, school coaches. We have collegiate coaches. We also have coaches at the international level as well. A few other things to note. We do a few things. We are on Facebook. There's our link there. We also do something called FSU Coach Live, where we interview coaches or people in sports, usually about once a week. And we put them on our YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed to that, you should do so. Yesterday, I interviewed a volunteer coach in a high school and talked about his experiences with struggling to win. His team didn't win a game this year. And so we talked about what that was like and how did he deal with the parents and et cetera. So each and every week, and you can see there, Bob Bowman, he's the coach of Michael Phelps. I got to interview him a few months ago, which was a pretty neat experience. We also do a monthly newsletter as well, which I encourage you to subscribe to. We put out Thought of the Month. We put out information about coaching. We break down a research study. It's something that I recommend everybody consider subscribing to. The last thing I'll just say, and there's my contact information if you have questions after this video, but myself, Dr. Bunning, everybody in the college, we're very competitive. We've lived in sports our whole lives. We like being successful. And we're looking for people who want to be successful too. We're looking for students who want to go above and beyond and really set the standard for other people. This is not a degree. This is not a certificate for people who just want a piece of paper. There are plenty of programs out there where you can get that. And I suspect it will be a much easier program than ours. We're looking for people who say, I want to be the best in the business. I want to be the best at my sport. I want to help my athletes around me and the other coaches around me to the best of my ability. Those are the students we're looking for.